Tribe, this video is going to be for you if you're asking yourself questions like you're trying to find yourself. You're trying to find the real you, like you lost him. And we could explain this many different ways. Okay, you're trying to be more authentic, and you just don't, for whatever reason. That's being authentic is really really tough for people. Just being the real you. Okay, you're trying to figure this stuff out. Okay, maybe you're a little bit older and you feel like you lost that kid inside of you. You lost the inspiration of life. You understand? You lost having fun. Okay, and you're trying to find that person. You're trying to get that person back. You understand? There's some of you out there, you might call this identity work. You're trying to be the most successful version of you, and you don't know how. You know what I mean? It's you're trying to find that version of you. Okay, that's what we're going to talk about today. And as I'm outside taking a morning walk, we got a motorbike coming down here, chasing me. Okay, we're got motorbikes over here. Okay, coming both ways. Wait for them to pass. Stuff like that. But anyway, I am up in Surin, Thailand. Okay, up in the village. Beautiful out. It's getting a time of the year where it's going to start getting cool in the morning, so I'm trying to get in a better habit with doing my morning walks. Okay, just because I really got out of that habit. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole with that. That's not the talk today. But just trying to get in better habits while I'm up here. Okay, beautiful. Wanted to film down here. It was way more beautiful down here, but it was too loud. And the funny thing is, I recorded for like 10 minutes, had some great stuff for you, and I didn't even hit record. But anyway, let's get back on topic here. You see, the thing is that we think, listen guys, we think we have to go search for that version of us. We think that we have to find ourselves. Okay, but what if it's not true? You understand what I'm saying? Like we think, okay, we think we want a dream house. We think we have to go get it, go find it. It's outside of us. But it's not true. It's not true in manifesting. Okay, everything you want is inside of you. Okay, but it's the same thing when we're trying to be a better version of us. No matter what we want to call it, it's the same. You understand, tribe? Is we think we have to go find ourselves like we lost ourselves. And yes, okay, now yes, I'll be 100% honest. Yes, we can feel that way. We can feel that we lost. Maybe there's a side of us that used to have fun and really enjoy life and was carefree. And we're just not that person anymore. And we're wondering, like, what happened? What happened to that version of Chad? Where is he? I have to be careful as people's driving down here a lot in the morning. Stuff like that. You understand. And I really heard yesterday, it was actually yesterday, I'll give you two examples real fast. Yesterday, what really made me think about this was I was listening to Anthony Robbins. Okay, now Anthony Robbins, now he's old school. Some people know him, some people don't. He's crazy popular. If you saw his picture, you would know him. Okay, now he's been doing personal development for 50 years, like in the self-help space. Like he's the number one person. Okay, and he's hardcore. Okay, and I was listening to one of his seminars, just like a little snippet of it, and a guy stood up to ask him a question. And this is the question the guy asked. He said, "I'm just struggling. I'm just trying to find myself." And I think that's a question that most of us ask. And we might ask it in different ways. That's why I said that the video a little bit different. He said, "I'm trying to find myself." And I loved how Anthony Robbins really answered it, because Anthony Robbins said, "What do you mean? What do you mean find yourself? You don't go find yourself like you lost yourself. Okay. So in the beginning, Anthony Robbins is kind of funny. But then, listen, I loved what Anthony Robbins said. Okay, this is the meat and potatoes, baby. If you stayed along in the video this far, ooh, you're going to get an amazing nugget here that could alter your life. Okay. This is what Anthony Robbins said. He said, you don't go find yourself. He said, with all the years of his experience within personal development, self-help, identity work, and professional and personal, he said, you don't go find yourself, baby. He said, listen, you simply decide who you want to be and you be that person. Doesn't it make it so simple? Okay. Like, listen, we're trying to find ourselves. We're trying to be more authentic in life. We start asking these questions. We search people out and we sit there and say, help me find myself. Help me be the most successful version of me. I lost that. I lost that version of Chad that used to just be carefree and have fun. You didn't lose him. You understand? Listen, you simply just decide who you want to be and start being that person today. Now, I love that because it really spoke to me. Okay. And I even do this work too. I teach a lot of success manifesting over the years. But I just loved how simple it was. You simply decide who you want to be and you start living today that person. You're not trying to find the most successful version of you. You simply decide you want to be successful and you start living today as that person. Doesn't that make life so easy? You simply decide. You see, that's the power that we have. The power that we have is the power of decision. Okay, even going down the rabbit hole of manifesting. That's how manifesting works, baby. Is you simply decide what you want, and you stay in that state. You live in that state, and then it comes to you. You simply decide. You want to be a millionaire? Well, you simply decide you want to be a millionaire. Then you start living that way today. It's decision. It's the power of decision. And when I used to be mentored by Bob Proctor for many years before he passed away, like Bob Proctor would always talk about decisions and power of decisions. And, it takes a while for this information, lots of times, because the reason why it takes a while for this information is once even in this video, okay, the only thing you got out of this video might have been you simply decide and you become that person today. That might be the only thing you take away from this video, because we only learn about 10%. We only pick up around 5 or 10% of information. We don't pick up everything. And another thing is that, we can, you can be doing this stuff for years. You can debate this stuff. You can argue this stuff. You can play devil's advocate with this stuff with people. But the results just aren't sticking to you. You know what I mean? You're not getting results. If you are, they're sporadic all over the place. You understand? Like Bob Proctor would always say, the proof is in the pudding, baby. Maybe he didn't really say it like that, but but anyway, the proof is in the pudding, baby. The proof is in your life. Are you living your dream life? Okay. Your 3D world is your proof that what you're doing is working. Sometimes people can't handle that because their 3D world might not be proof that it's working. But anyway, let's change gears here because I don't want to get off on a tangent. So I really want to talk to you about decisions, the power of decisions. What I kind of learned by Bob Proctor is Bob Proctor would always talk about decisions, decisions, and decisions, okay? Now I'm going to explain it differently here in this video to make it make more sense to you, rather than just like, yeah, Chad, I know I need to make better decisions. No, I'm not talking about making better decisions, okay? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about decisions in general. And when I used to study with Bob Proctor, I would be confused, kind of a little bit, not really confused about decisions, but you don't really grasp the deep, super deep meaning, what Bob Proctor really meant. But sometimes it's just not explained very well. You see, when we go back to when I said, you got to just simply decide who you want to be and be that person. You got to decide, meaning it's a decision, okay? Now you got to listen to this. When you make decisions throughout your life, okay, I don't care if you make good decisions or bad decisions, but the decisions you're making are linked, listen guys, are linked to that identity of yourself, okay? It's connected. Everything's connected. Everything's connected to your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind picks up what you're murmuring and complaining about all day long, what you're talking to yourself all day long. It picks up your daily habits and daily patterns. It knows you better than you know yourself, okay? And when we talk about decisions, your subconscious mind, baby, knows that you either make decisions and stick to them or you don't. Ooh. Am I poking needles into you right now? You understand? Like that's why Bob Proctor would always be like, make a decision and stick to it. Okay? If you're very indecisive, well, you got to work on making the decision and sticking to it. Okay, some of you make really quick decisions. You're like, well, Chad, I make decisions. But you change your mind, you don't stick to it. You understand? So you might make decisions, but you got to work on, you stick to it. Okay, you don't back out. Like it, because what you're doing, you're training your subconscious mind. With decision making, you're training your subconscious mind that I'm in control of my life. Okay, I make decisions. When I say something, I do it, I follow through with it, and I stick to it. That's how you're training your subconscious mind. And listen, guys, even though it sounds cheesy and corny, sometimes this is what's making it or breaking it for you in the areas of success, manifesting, you getting what you want. Okay. And I've always been the type of person, when I grew up, I was very indecisive. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, not in this video, it's too long. Okay. Like my dad was very overbearing. So you did what dad wanted you to do. Meaning like you had to bend to do what your dad wanted to do. So when I grew up very indecisive because I had somebody overbearing over me, making my decisions for me. Okay, that goes into adulthood. Okay, that goes into relationships. You understand? Okay. But anyway, how it connects is when you start making a decision, simple decisions. I'm not saying big decisions. I'm just saying simple decisions. Okay. Like if a buddy comes to you and asks him, hey, can you help me move this weekend? And you say yes. You follow through with that decision. You said somebody you're going to help them, you help them. Okay. You understand? Okay. You follow through with your decision. You follow through what you say you're going to do. Because all you're doing, listen, guys, all you're doing is building confidence with yourself that when I make decisions, when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. I always do it. Okay. You're building confidence with yourself. Plus, you're rearranging your subconscious mind. You're reprogramming your subconscious mind that it doesn't happen overnight, but eventually your subconscious mind will be like, well, Chad always, when Chad's making a decision, when Chad says he's going to do something, Chad always does it. Okay. Then that gets aligned with success in manifesting. Now all of a sudden, when you want your dream house, dream car, whatever you want, when you say, hey, I want this, your subconscious mind takes it more serious. Because your subconscious mind is like, well, Chad always gets what he wants. He always stands behind his word. Okay. So this is directly aligned with our talk. When you're trying to discover yourself, you're trying to become a better version of yourself. And I sit there and say, no, you don't go out and search for them. They're inside of you. How you pull them out is you simply just decide who you want to be and then be that person right now today. It's a decision. You just simply decide. You want to be more successful? You simply just decide you want to be more successful. And then start being that version of you today. You understand? Okay. One more example really fast. I don't know if I want to walk down through there. It's been raining a lot. So I don't know. A little bit buggy out this morning too. And I got coffee in this hand and the camera in this hand. But my another example is Will Smith. Now, no matter if you love him, hate him, like him, dislike him, like his movies, whatnot, okay, set that aside. And, I love, these are back in the day a little bit, but I love, he has a lot of like manifesting stuff out, like he would say in interviews and stuff like that. And one of his more popular ones that used to just be all over the place, like, and I forget his whole speech because it's pretty powerful, but when they're talking about success, goals, who you want to be, he would say the same thing, but just in a different way. He would sit there and say, just simply decide. Just simply decide who you want to be and then be that person. Just simply decide. Just make a decision and then do it. Okay? Be it. Okay? That's how simple this stuff is. Just simply decide. You see, we all have these ultra successful people sharing nuggets here and there. We either don't understand it or we don't study this material long enough so we understand it deeply so we can change our own life, or we make fun of it. You understand? And the simple thing is, like, listen to this, guys. When people make fun of something, it really means they're ignorant in the conversation. They don't really know it, okay? Listen, people tend to make fun of stuff that they don't really understand. You know what I mean? That's usually what ends up happening. That's usually the truth behind things. They really don't understand it themselves, so the only thing they can do is make fun of it. Okay, if that's you, that should stab you in the heart a little bit. You simply just decide. Now I'm gonna give you some homework. Okay, I should have said that in the beginning of the video. I'm gonna give you some homework, but those of you that stuck around, watched the whole video, well, you're gonna change your life, baby. You're the one. Listen, guys, if you're the one sitting there watching the whole video, you watch more than 2 minutes. You know what I mean? You're really sitting there trying to figure this stuff out. Even if I make a 45-minute video, you're the one that sits there and watches the whole 45 minutes. Okay, maybe you're doing something while it's playing, doesn't matter. Okay, you're really trying to figure this stuff out. So this is what I want you to do. Okay, I want you to grab a notebook. Go buy one if you have to. Okay, only use this notebook for this exercise. Okay, you're not going to use the whole notebook in one time. I don't want to scare you. But I want you to write down, this is identity work, okay? I want you to write on top of the notebook that you can write the quote I'm quoting. You understand? Just simply decide who you want to be and be that person. If you want to write that out, write that out. And I want you to sit down and think, and I want you to write out. It doesn't matter how much you write, okay? But this is going to be ongoing homework. It doesn't matter if you write 2 sentences, doesn't matter if you write half a page, doesn't matter if you write 2 pages, okay? I want you to write out specific who you want to be, okay? This is more identity work. I'm not telling you to write out your perfect day. I'm telling you to write out Decide who you want to be and be that person. Okay, who do you want to be? Okay, what attributes do you want that person to have? Okay, what type of goals would that person have? What would he be doing every single day? What would be their habits and patterns you'd want that person to have? Would that person be a millionaire? Now, I'll give you an example. I always call myself the $15 million man, okay? That's an identity, okay? So if I sit there and say, just decide who you want to be, Chad. And I'm like, I'm the $15 million man. But what does that $15 million man, who do they represent? You understand? Because it's a cliche, okay? But then I got to sit down with a tablet and a notebook and I got to write out, who do I want to be, and be very, very specific. And you can go in and sit there and say, this is what I would do day in and day out. But I want you to be specific. Okay. And it doesn't matter how long it is in the beginning. I don't want to scare you with that. Okay. Oh my God, you got to write 2 pages. Okay. If you write 1 sentence, it's fine. Okay. Because that might be all you're aware of right now. That's fine. Okay. This is part 2 to the homework. After you write it out, I want you to read it to yourself every day. Don't just memorize it and you think about it. I want you to pick up the tablet and read it out loud to yourself every day. And this is where you make a little bit of edits. This is where, when I write it out day 1, I might pick it up and read it to myself on day 2, and I might add stuff to it. You understand? This is why in the beginning, it doesn't matter how long it is, because I know I'm going to get more specific over time, and I'm going to either add stuff to it, get more specific, remove stuff, whatever. But I want you to read it to yourself every single day. And if you feel the urge to add things, get more specific, you do that. Because that's what's going to happen naturally. When you start reading it, your imagination is going to start getting better and better with this, and you're going to add things to it. And from time to time, you might have to rewrite it because you did edits. Okay? But that's what I want you to do for 30 days. Okay? Read it to yourself every single day for 30 days. And so I got, like driving by. And this will change your life, my friends. Okay? This will help you tremendously. This will help you know more to the T on who you want to be. You understand? You got to do this exercise. Okay, tribe? The issue is, sometimes I'm included with this too. The issue is you're not doing these exercises. You're trying to chase the 24-hour manifesting technique, or, the perfume technique. I spray perfume on me and I think this. Okay, you got to do these exercises, guys. You got to sit down and take the time to do this stuff. Okay, you really want to change your life. You really want to alter your life. You really want to figure out you got to do this stuff. Okay, bottom line. Now I'm being rough with you. Get ready to walk back here. But anyway, tribe, that's all I just want to share with you. I don't want this to be a crazy long video. Just want to help you out. And even honestly, even when I go back, today's Sunday, and I'm not even thinking about, I'm going to do it. See, that's a decision. When I say I'm thinking about, that's that old Chad talking. That's that old Chad that's indecisive, that's not really just making a decision. Is saying, I'm going to do this today. Because I haven't done it for a long time. Is just sit down, take a notebook, write on top of the notebook. Just make a decision of who you want to be and be that person. Who am I? Okay, I'm going to do the same exercise. Because I haven't done it for so long. I've done it many times, but not for a while. Okay. But anyway, tribe, remember I love you guys. And if you have questions with this, leave a question down below. If you need help with any of this, all the nuggets are inside the description. Actually, I should have walked this way into the video. I was walking the wrong way, baby. The sky is really blue today. Look at that. But anyway, if you need help with this, any of this stuff, you know, all the nuggets are in the description. So check out the description. I always keep the description updated. But anyway, remember, I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.